What's up you guys, this is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Quick Draw we're getting hammered when we take a look at the Karyst. Okay, so I'm well aware that the Karyst is a dagger and not a hammer, but out of curiosity and due diligence upon doing my research, I did notice that our newest addition is quite similar to another weapon in the Nintendo arsenal. And you guessed it, it's our one and only face smasher, the Fragor. Which is kind of no surprise because, you know, the hammer thing's in the title. So the big question here is, exactly how effective is a dagger when it's statted like a hammer? You can pick up the Karyst in the market for 20,000 credits. Just be aware that in addition to some basic components, it does cost 100 Oxium and 1 Argon Crystal to craft. But if farming isn't your thing, you can always pick it up in the market, pre-built, along with a catalyst and a weapon slot for 95 plat. Now, its primary damage type is Toxin, which is pretty damn awesome since it combines into Corrosive, which is great for the Corrupted in the Void, Fossilized Infested Ancients, and Ferrite Armored Grineer. To a lesser extent, Toxin also makes for decent splash damage when combined with Magnetic for the Corpus or Radiation for the Grineer. Now, let's go over my initial reaction when I reviewed the stats. Shit, this dagger's pretty. 50 damage? Woot! Highest base damage of all daggers! And it's Toxin? And it's Toxin! Not a bad— what? 0.8 attack speed? What the fuck is 0.8 attack speed? That's about as slow as the— yep, you guessed it. The Fragor. Which incidentally only has a 5-point difference in base damage. Now the reason I'm droning on about its speed is because at face value it looks like a halfway decent weapon, and finally makes single daggers feasible in mid to high tier missions, when in reality if we calculate its damage per second, which I did, it sits at 40 points of damage per second, which is a 3-point damage increase as compared to the Heat Dagger, and even more surprisingly when compared to the Ceramic Dagger, which is highly regarded as one of the worst weapons in game, it's only got a 5-point damage per second increase. Now, to put 40 base damage per second in perspective, the Skoliak sports a 70.2 damage per second. Now to add to the disappointment, while it's got a high crit multiplier, much like the Fragor, it has a low crit chance which makes it difficult to trigger attack speed stacks on the Berserker mod. The only halfway decent thing about the Karyst is its status chance, which is only 5% more than the Fragor, and I'm pretty sure you know exactly how I feel about the importance of status. LOL. Now, speaking of things that are like other things but aren't actually as similar as they seem, can we talk? Okay, so this is going to be one of Rob's life lessons. To be completely transparent, this is the third time I've rewritten this section, and I have come to the conclusion that there are just some things I will never understand. Kind of like how a dagger is statted like a massive sledgehammer, or how some straight men can be bigger flamers than I am. But the fact is, that's just the way things are sometimes, and honestly, there's nothing you can do about it. I can sit here and bitch and moan all day about how, this is a dagger, it should be fast and stabby, why the hell are all the Warframe daggers so slow? Or, he is not allowed to use the word girl without having sucked the appropriate amount of dicks. But it's not going to change how DE stats out their daggers, and it won't change the fact that being flamboyant doesn't equate to being homosexual. And on that same page, the inverse is also true. Just because a weapon is slow doesn't mean that it's a hammer, and just because a guy is ultra masculine doesn't mean that he's straight. At the end of the day, a dagger is a dagger because it's made for penetration. And a gay guy is a gay guy because, well, he's made for penetration. So the fact is, regardless of who you are or what end of the spectrum you fall into, you're always going to confuse somebody. So you might as well just be yourself because you can't please them all. Unless of course you're bisexual, then go on with your greedy ass self. Okay, let's get back to the quick draw. So all in all, while the Karyst isn't the blade that I was hoping to make daggers a feasible high-end weapon, it's not terrible. It's still the best dagger of the bunch, and while it's slow, it's moddable to be tolerable. It comes with a dash polarity which makes managing elemental combos a bit easier, and although some of its resources are a pain to get, its blueprint is available in the market and doesn't have a mastery rank requirement. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, its lack of speed and the fact that it doesn't at the very least synergize well with Berserker makes it a bit of a pain. To top it off, equipping its stances don't help much either. Pointed Wing slows it even further down, and Homing Fang's sudden jolts of forward momentum make its strikes a bit difficult to aim. I'm almost more fond of not wielding it and just keeping up its quick melee combos. So I guess you could say, in the case of the Karyst, quick and dirty is the best way to have it. So thank you all for watching another episode of the Quick Draw. I'll link you to the previous episode on the Quanta as well as part 1 of the special edition non-sexual Quickdraw 3-way. Don't forget to do the thing that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, stay tuned for more pounding and penetration here at A Gay Guy Plays. Haha! Overwatch for the what the? And exactly what do you think you're doing? I'm just playing a little bit of XCOM. Where is my 3-way